Hello and welcome to this presentation entitled Case Studies in Music Education, Investigating and Understanding the Adolescent Student Perspective. If music educators are concerned about providing meaningful contexts for learners to engage with music, then it follows that music teachers should understand something about learners' experiences, perceptions, attitudes, and beliefs about music. The ways in which people engage with music today are different than in the past. Currently, music education conferences in the United States and in Europe are encouraging researchers to examine themes related to students' perspectives of music education and diverse learning contexts. In the current study, we investigated adolescents' overall experiences in learning music, both formal and informally, in order to examine the perspectives, attitudes, and experiences of 3 adolescent students. We wanted to know, how do adolescent learners characterize their musical learning experiences, and in turn, how might their perspectives inform the way teachers structure meaningful music education contexts in an increasingly complex musical landscape. We contacted music teachers in the proximity of our universities in 3 different United States to help us identify passionate adolescent musicians who engage with music in a variety of contexts. We subsequently recruited 3 participants, 1 female and 2 male. We collected data for the study via semi-structured interviews at students' schools or via video conference. We also collected journal entries and musical artifacts to substantiate themes emergent in the interview data. Our first participant, Linda, was a 17-year-old high school junior from the Midwest United States who participated in her school choir program as an alto vocalist as well as a pianist for the show choir. She played the oboe in the wind ensemble and the clarinet in the marching band. Outside of school, she sang in her church choir, Crooked Halo, frequently listened to music on her phone, and enjoyed composing and improvising music with music technology. She recently designed her own show choir production. In college, Linda intends to study music therapy or music education. Here's an excerpt from her composition, Air. An 18-year-old senior, our second participant was Aaron from the southeastern United States. His primary musical experiences centered on percussion instruments, piano, and singing. Although he could have graduated a year early, Aaron chose to stay in high school for his senior year to participate in school music activities. By making this choice, he maintained many musical friendships and further developed his musical skills. A composer and performer, Aaron has been making music in both school and extracurricular groups for years. He enrolled at a university to begin his Bachelor of Music Education degree this fall. Here's an excerpt from his composition, Matt's Song. Our third and final participant is Neil, a 16-year-old sophomore. He had middle school experience playing saxophone, but is now focused on electronic music making. Although he initially gravitated toward electronic music for practical reasons, such as having enough scholastic time for demanding non-music courses, Neil enjoyed working with music technology and the freedom he felt in creating his own music. Here's an excerpt from his composition, Flight of the Owl. We will now discuss three themes that have emerged through cross-case analysis: multifaceted motivation, learning processes and habits, and creativity. The theme of motivation was multifaceted as shown by the ways the participants described their own reasons for engaging in a variety of musical activities. Broadly defined as any factor that increases the vigor of engagement with a task, the participants' motivations included extrinsic, achievement, self-determined, and intrinsic factors. Although some participants reported distinct examples of one particular motivation, many of these factors overlapped in their experience. Linda provided the most obvious example of achievement motivation in her high expectation for achieving musical excellence and the desire to participate in music competitions. In instrumental music, this attitude appears in the related literature as connected to ideas of student motivation and performance achievement. Linda also reported that while she is intrinsically motivated to make music, she also values extrinsic recognition of her achievement. She said,
I guess it's something that makes me happy, and it's something that I know that I have to work harder at. Because I can get as much recognition for, being first chair or whatever, but I want somebody to come up to me and say, hey, you did a great job, comment on something specific that I did great on. And it's like, that would make my day, I want to prove to people who are listening that I'm good enough to be in the spot that I'm in.
Aaron echoed a similar motivational theme when he said,
it's never on the instructor to motivate the students, I don't think. I think it's up to the student to motivate themselves, and the fact that we punish teachers for not being able to motivate students that don't care is dumb.
From this perspective, motivation is a student responsibility and therefore self-determined. That is, Aaron strongly valued autonomy, the freedom to choose how and to what extent he participates in and learns about music. He said,
I've only ever seen people grow from that mindset, when they realize that I can take my learning into my own hands, and that way I'm not waiting for someone else to tell me how to get better. I'm figuring it out on my own, and then I'm asking for help if I need it.
Neil's experience in music technology class also supported the autonomous aspect of self-determination. He said,
I'm really enjoying getting to make my own music and perform it in the way that I want it. It's a very hands-on, do your thing kind of class. I really do enjoy that.
He preferred this setting over band class. As he said,
it's really the polar opposite of band. Where, like you said, band was very much so teacher-directed. Here's what we have. This is what we're doing. Music tech is the teacher gives us an assignment and then says, go wild.
The theme of learning processes and habits characterized the ways in which the participants grew and developed themselves both musically and personally through music. Their approaches included learning music through critical listening, by observing others in formal settings, or through technology. They also used self-discovery, reflection, and critical thinking as avenues to further their own learning. Linda described herself as an auditory learner, one who listens to music in order to understand how to perform it. She explained,
and the way that I learn it is by listening to it a bunch of times and then looking at the sheet music and then figuring out, okay, this is a difficult part I need to work on, and then just breaking it down from there.
She further explained this approach in learning to play the piano. She said,
from a really young age, I was able to pick up and remember melodies and then play them. I don't have like perfect pitch or anything, but like if I can remember the way something sounds, then I can play it eventually.
For Aaron, the learning process was most powerful when he discovered something himself, thereby being in charge of his own learning. He credited this mindset to his experiences in band. He said,
I've really learned self-discipline from that. It was something that Mr. Ditch really hammered into us in marching band, was look at the information and figure it out. And I guess I just really learned the self-discipline from that. And I also learned, really how to think for myself critically.
Neil also valued independent learning. He said,
I'm much more self-directed, self-discovery, hands-on. I like to see how I like to watch other people and then try taking what they do and applying it to what I'm doing in my own way, or I'm giving it my own little spin.
Each participant demonstrated creativity through varied forms of musical engagement and experience. They enjoyed composing music via technology and/or acoustic instruments. Most played multiple instruments and participated in different types of musical ensembles inside and outside of school. The ways in which they integrated their informal and formal learning experiences added another dimension to their creative work. Aaron's creativity and engagement with music was evident in his works as a composer. His participation in school and church ensembles as a vocalist and percussionist, making music with his father and brother, as well as informally playing the piano. One of Aaron's most poignant anecdotes expressed a moment of growth and creativity through music, which occurred when his father took him to the Grand Canyon. He said,
3 years ago, was not a fantastic human being. Almost got in a lot of trouble for something ridiculous. Was really upset about it for a while. And then my dad took me to the Grand Canyon, and something about the Grand Canyon, because I'm saying it cured it, but it really made me realize that, this is fine. You can pass this, dude. And then I wrote an original piece on piano. Spent a year writing it. And that same year that I almost got in trouble for that massive thing, I played the piece at Bandcamp Talent Show and got a standing ovation for it. So that was really important to me, and it still is, because I don't think I ever would have risen out of where I was if I hadn't had that.
Neil viewed his experiences using technology as an important vehicle for personal creativity and expression. He said,
for me, I think that the music technology is definitely making a bigger impact in the long run. Because it's helping and teaching me how to better faucet out my creativity into something tangible per se, rather than a band which was taking an already created idea and then just giving it a voice, giving it sound.
Linda's creative projects emerged during her year in AP Music Theory. She recounted,
when I started doing that, it was for music theory. Those were projects. So Air, which was one of the ones that I shared with you, that was the final last semester. And it's actually based on a church song, and I had to scrap so much because I get really overcritical when I write stuff, and then I'm like, oh, it doesn't sound good. But then I can write something in 20 minutes and be fine with it.
In this study, we investigated adolescent musicians' perceptions of their own learning to inform and/or enhance the ways music teachers design meaningful and relevant music education experiences. Highlights from our findings include facilitating students' desire to learn about multiple facets of music making. The use of modern technology, computers, software, and handheld devices are important tools for eliciting creative self-expression. Music learning experiences should provide space for personal self-discovery and growth. As these cases demonstrate, young people thrive when given meaningful opportunities to engage with music, prompting a sense of deep satisfaction and an increased desire to learn.